Hey guys, Jessica from Rantastic here, and today is Veterans Day, so I thought I would take this opportunity today to salute all of our veterans and current service members, and also tell you about my short stint in the U.S. Navy. Now, I actually grew up around the military. My father was in the Army, my uncle was in the Coast Guard, my grandfather served both in the Army and the Navy. And the military and our country is something I've always been passionate about. So from a young age, even before I was 14 years old, I always wanted to be in the military just like the rest of my family. I wanted to protect my country and do what I believed in. Unfortunately, when I was younger, I could never enlist. There was always some reason or some code or something that I couldn't enlist. When I was married, I had the opportunity to enlist and actually got through quite a bit of the processing, going through ASVAB, and then my husband, who was in the Army, decided it wasn't a good idea and I wasn't going to enlist. So that kind of broke my heart because I finally thought I was going to be able to do what I've always wanted to do. Several years later, I finally did get the opportunity to enlist, but I was at the top of the age bracket for the U.S. Navy. And so in the process of trying to enlist, I actually had to get a congressional to allow me to enlist in the U.S. Navy. I was finally able to go, and I left for boot camp in November. Now, your in-processing days, or P days, is what it's called in the Navy, and that can be 3 to 4 days, it can be a week, and even 2 weeks. During the time I was processing, it was right before Thanksgiving, so there really is no in-processing. So we actually had almost a 2-week hold before we could ever do our boot camp training. Boot camp, I was so scared. I spent months working out, trying to max out everything I would have to do on the physical fitness test. The only thing I could never get was the run, and that really made me nervous. I didn't want to be recycled, as they say, or have to repeat boot camp until you pass certain parts. So I was really nervous about that. But for the most part, boot camp wasn't that challenging, other than sleep exhaustion, having your RDCs and shouting at you early in the morning, and the crazy stuff that you had to do. Mine was a submariner, and so everything we had to do had to sound like a submarine. It was a ooga all the time. But it wasn't too bad. It was my goal. I went in as an E3, which is an airman in the Navy. And I had really high hopes. I was really excited to go to school afterwards. I was supposed to be working on aircraft, and I was really, really excited. So while you're in P days, you do a lot of in-processing, and they draw your blood, and they do a bunch of different testing. They go kind of to an extreme as far as I'm concerned, but we get all our shots and everything gets up to date. We get your flu shot and everybody gets sick. Through this process, apparently they found out that I had cervical cancer, but they did not actually get the results until right before I was ready to graduate. So they actually had to discharge me medically. I fought my discharge for 2 months, but it all came down to they can't have me on a ship out at sea and have cancer, which it does make sense, but it just broke my heart because I had fought for so long to get in. So because I did not get through the final stages of boot camp and was not fully an enlisted member, I actually am not a veteran. So I took it really hard for a lot of years, but I'm okay with it. I got the experience, but I just thank every single service member every veteran for the service they give to our country. We would not have our freedoms. We would not have the things we have without you. And for all those that have lost their lives, I thank you so much for everything you've done and for giving me what I have today. And for that, I salute you.